of what my life's like. I'm sitting here on the bench in the sunshine. It's a gorgeous. Let me flip it around and show you the beautiful sun. I can feel spring in the air today. Yesterday was a bit overcast. Obviously, the trees aren't in bloom yet because we're just in February, but probably in 2 weeks it'll all be full of blossoms. And this whole street is full of cherry blossoms. I filmed it last year, but anyway, just you can see my part of town. The sky is absolutely blue, 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 blue. And if you really look, you can see that the little buds are coming on the cherry trees. So very, very soon it's going to be a gorgeous, gorgeous day. What am I going to talk to you about today? Is that lovely couple, that retired couple, tending the little balcony garden. It's lovely. What am I going to talk to you about today? I'm going to talk to you about what I started talking about last week when I was down at the lake, and that is how to live on less, how to live frugally, how to live on a budget when you are maybe going into retirement or already retired and you want to know how to make the best of your limited budget, your limited income once you retire, because you perhaps can't get a second job, or you don't want to get a second job, obviously, because you've worked all your life, and how to live on less. So one of the things that I have kind of specialized in the last 2 years is telling people how much it costs to live in Italy, just because I do Relocation Italy, which is this channel. And so the first thing people always ask me is, what does it cost to live? And one of the things to factor in, other than rent, insurance, running a car, all that lovely stuff, is how much does it cost, for groceries, extras, going out, having a coffee, having something to eat out, all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to give you ways that I discovered that we fritter away maybe $100, €100 currency you in every week without noticing it, because we think, oh well, it doesn't really matter. It really does matter, because obviously you need to enjoy your life, and I'm not saying you shouldn't go out for coffees and I don't know, Starbucks or whatever you do where you are. Here in Italy we don't have Starbucks other than Milan and maybe Florence, but we have a coffee shop on every corner. We don't need Starbucks. But if you add all of that up, let's just look at the average person. Okay, so I've been going into Milan for about 18 years from Lake Como, where I lived, going in, doing my daily work and coming home. And on average, if I stop to have a cappuccino and a brioche or a croissant, as is your wish, often called brioche here in Italy, in the north. And we usually say liscia. Brioche liscia means empty, it's not filled. Hi, Mark, hi lovely. Hi Mark, I'm glad you're joining. So yeah, I realized when I added it all up, Mark, will you drop down and tell us, Starbucks is ski for. Will you tell us where you're joining from? Because people like to know, curious people. So, so there's a coffee shop on every corner in Italy, obviously. But I added up, when I stopped going into Milan every day, obviously I was earning, so I didn't have to justify the fact that I was stopping for some treats, but I added it all up. I got a little black book. I did an exercise about 2 years ago, and I had this little black book. It sounds ridiculous, but I really just wanted to see. And so I made a rule with myself, and I was quite strict with myself. Hi, Mark is in Trento, which is up in the north, the region of Trentino, which is up in the extreme north of Italy, borders with Austria and Switzerland on one part. So, yes, so I decided I'm going to add up every little thing I buy. And it's amazing what you do buy. Maybe you stop and you just get a few little things and blah, blah, blah that you don't really need. But I just started adding up, having a cappuccino, maybe having a treat, maybe having a on then with friends, having a prosecco, whatever you do, and sometimes just eating lunch because I didn't have time to make lunch at home before I went out. And I added it all up, and on an average week, I was spending about 150 euro a week. Now, that doesn't sound ridiculous if you're earning, but if you add up 150 euro a week and you put 4 weeks in the month, it could be 5 weeks, but let's say 4 weeks, let's make it a regular month. So if you add up, Mark, you're going to be my calculator. If you add up 4 times 150, what do you come to? I'm going to try and calculate what I was spending in a month on incidentals like stopping for a cappuccino, stopping for a quick lunch. Okay, I was earning, so it was okay. But if you add up 150 times, oh, there we are. Look, my calculator's working. Thank you, Mark. 600 euro. So that's actually my rent now. That's my rent, actually, for a lovely apartment. Okay, some areas would be more. But you can do a lot with 600 euro if you invested that 600 euro or just saved that 600 euro. What you could say, but you can't not spend anything. No, but what I could have done is I make a packed lunch. I brown bag it. I get brown bags that you can buy at the supermarket. I make a lovely healthy sandwich with lovely toppings. I can put whatever I like in it, cheese, salad, I can have salami, whatever I want. I can go crazy, or I can make a simple sandwich. I can take some fruit with me in the brown bag. I have a thermos flask. In winter I can fill it with coffee. Hi, who else is joining? Fadi, hi. Tell us where you're coming from. I can fill the flask with coffee if it's cold, and if it's hot in summer, I can put a nice iced drink in there, and I can take that with me, and it just factors into my grocery bill. It doesn't cost me much because it's already covered. And so let's say of that 600 euro that I was spending every month, it now costs 100 euro to brown bag it at home and to just spend that extra few minutes and to just take it in. Now that I'm not going into Milan to work every day, I continued with a little black book story, and I said to myself, all the times that I just stop because I'm on my way home and it's a lovely atmosphere and it's all lovely and buzzy. I'll show you how lovely the street is with the blue sky and everything looking rather gorgeous today. Spring hasn't sprung, but it's about to. Isn't that the most beautiful building? I love that building. So even now that I wasn't going into Milan every day, perhaps I would just stop and have a cappuccino, then I'd have a cake with it. The bakeries in Italy are quite expensive. They make, proper pasticcerie, which are gorgeous if you're on a holiday. But let's say I was spending 10 euro a day, okay? If you add up 10 euro, I think I can do this one on my own, Mark. Valerie Chaman, hi. Where are you joining from? Put your city, write your city down there. I'd love to have you join me. I'm here in Italy if you've just joined me. We're talking about daily costs and how to save on your monthly costs and how to live frugally. And so, yes, I was spending. So once I stopped going into Milan and I wasn't spending, all that money, 150 a week, I worked out that I was still spending 10 euro a day on coffee and a little cake here and there, whatever. And maybe if I stopped for a glass of wine and something, it was 15 euro. But if you add that up, that's 30 euro. That's 30 euro. Sorry, what am I saying? That's 300 euro a month. Am I right? Or am I talking rubbish? €10 a day times 30. Yeah, it's 300, isn't it? No, is it 30? It can't be 30. Oh, you're in Senegal. How wonderful. Anyway, I write everything down in my little black book now. And I realized that I could take that extra money. I don't have to deprive myself. I have a beautiful coffee machine at home. I make a lovely cappuccino at home. Occasionally, yesterday I went out to a friend's birthday party and we had lunch together, and then we went to a lovely bar situation and everyone had a G&T or a glass of wine, or a sparkling wine, or yeah, we all had something to drink. We had some birthday cake. Okay, that was a treat going out. So if you did that and you spent 15 or 20 euro occasionally, that's okay. I mean, it's not, you can't do nothing, but it's just the daily stuff. And I realized that if I just put that 10 euro a day away instead of spending it, not spend it, it makes a huge difference to my bill at the end of the month. The question always comes up, and I've covered this before, I'm going to cover it again. What does it cost to pay for your electricity, your gas, your heating, your water, your utilities in Italy, and rent? So, I mean, look, there are different areas of Italy. I'm up here in the north, which is considered expensive. I live near Lago Maggiore, which is absolutely gorgeous. What you see on the floor, it's Carnival at the moment. We have Carnivale in February, so everybody goes crazy because they're sick of winter, and all the kids get dressed up in costumes. But anyway, yes. What do utilities cost? Mark, la vita è dolce ma breve. Yes, exactly. As Mark said, written in Italian, life is short but sweet. Well, it is for me, and I hope it is for you guys too. So yes, so what does it cost? I'm going to tell you my region. Maybe Mark can tell you his, and if anyone else joins from Italy. So I moved from a house where my house was 100 square meters. I owned it and then downsized, and I now have a gorgeous apartment that's perfect for me, but costs me with my rent, my condominium, which you have to pay. The condominium covers the lift in the building and all the maintenance of the building. It's called the condominium charge, and usually if you live in an apartment you have to pay that. And if you own your apartment, you would also have to pay it. Obviously you contribute towards it. But with my condominiale, for a 60 meter square gorgeous apartment, one bedroom, it's really lovely. My apartment has two gorgeous French doors leading out to the terrace, and yeah, it's perfect for me. It has a gorgeous, lovely open plan kitchen, living area, and a wonderful bedroom and gorgeous bathroom. So I would say mine is about 880 with my condominiale. So that's my rent. Okay, the utilities, because this is what people want to know, because people often come to Italy to live and get completely undone by the utilities. They do not factor in that utilities are going to cost you. First of all, if you're in the north, but it basically, unless you're in Sicily in winter, and even in Sicily for a couple of months, you're going to need heating in winter. You can't get away without it. And it's always natural gas, unless you have a system where you've put a log burner in and it heats the water, which is unusual. Many people still have a log burner to heat up the house, but then they also have radiators. So that is natural gas that's doing the heating. And that, let me compare when I had a house of 100 square meters, 2 stories, and also now I have an apartment which is about a little less than half the size of my house. So in the house, I had a log burner, I had a fireplace that used to take the heat up until it reached a certain temperature. And if it was really cold, then I always started with a log burner. And then when it reached a certain temperature, the radiators switch off anyway because the temperatures reach. But my bill was in winter was about 300 a month, which is quite a lot, I think. And I was quite frugal with it. I had it set on about 19 degrees, which is about what I like to live in. Some people have it at 22, 23. That's a lot. Mark, I find that gas can be very expensive, so I try and keep my heating turned down. Exactly. My highest monthly gas bill was $5.50. Yeah, that can be a shock. How many square meters, Mark? Tell us that. Yeah, kind of. I mean, there is some fluctuation between the north and the south, but not a lot, really. I mean, most natural gas costs about the same. You pay per cubic meter. Now that I have an apartment about 55, 60 square meters, it's much less. My natural gas in winter is about 80 to 100 a month, which is so much less than it was at 300 a month. But remember, that's in winter. In summer, it goes down to nearly nothing, just the cost, because I really just use it to cook and to shower or to have a bath. So in summer, it goes down to about 60, and most of that is cost and delivery charges, these basic charges that you can't get away from. So yeah, it's a lot less than it was in the house. But if you have, okay, so Mark says for 130 square meters, yeah, it's about 500 a month. It's quite a lot. Okay, so that's just your natural gas. Then you've got electricity. Electricity in Italy is damn expensive. Well, at least I find it that way. And most of the people that I've helped relocate to Italy, somewhere along the line, get a shock with electricity. And you'll find that if you go into Italian buildings, there's always an automatic light switch. And just as you get to one stair from the top, when you really need the light, it suddenly cuts out, because in most buildings they have this automatic cutout for the light. It's because electricity is so expensive. And when you go into a cafe or a bar to use the bathroom, you always have to switch the light on. The light's not just left on like it is in some places. But anyway, unless you're going to McDonald's, of course, then, which I never do, the lights have to be switched off. Anyway, my electricity in the house used to be between 150, depending on the month. In winter more, because for some reason you use more, I don't know, maybe I had some electric blankets on or whatever. I still use cooking on the gas, so that didn't make much of a difference. But anyway, maybe you're using more hot water, longer showers, longer baths. It could be that. But anyway, and now my electricity is about 50. So now I can get away with about 100 a month in summer for both electricity and gas, which is fantastic. But I've got a really good deal, and I had to work towards that. And in the house, it was about 300 for gas and sometimes about 150 for electricity. So it was quite a lot. And then the water was €50 in the house, not so much, for 2 months. And now I don't pay water in the apartment. Let me see what everyone's saying. Never run the oven and wash at the same time. Yeah, so here's another thing that many people who are not Italians have a problem with. Italy has a system where most areas, I mean, you can't pay if you're building your house or you're restructuring a house. You can pay to have a greater potenziamento, they call it. In other words, the current, the capability that your house can tolerate in electricity is higher. But for most homes, if you run two things that are very heavy on the juice, very heavy on electricity, one of them will cut out because it'll override the switch breaker, and you will find that your lights go out. I mean, it trips the switch. And now you've got no power, and it's quite often when you least want it to. So I have an electric oven. I don't have a gas oven. I have an electric oven, and I also have an electric washing machine, obviously. In my apartment, because we have a different system, you can run both at the same time. But I remember in the house, quite often I would run the oven if I was doing a lot of baking and then put the washing machine on and then suddenly realize, oh God, why has the oven stopped? Oh yes, I was running the washing machine. Valerie, if possible, I will send you my WhatsApp number. Why? Why do you want to send me your WhatsApp number? So yes, yeah, so this thing exists in Italy and many people get caught out by it, as Mark mentioned, is that, yeah, you have a limited potential. The other thing that drives people mad while we're on the subject of electricity and plugs and stuff is the Italian plug-in system, when you plug something in a wall, has two different kind of plugs. So you have the normal two-prong plug that you plug in your cell phone charger, your whatever, okay? And then you have things that have a greater wattage. They use a greater amount of current, and they have to have a bigger plug. It's a different plug, and you need an adapter for it. It's highly annoying because you just bought your new vacuum cleaner, or you just bought your new, I don't know, heating fan, or you just bought your new dishwasher. You're trying to plug it into the wall, and it doesn't go into the plug in the wall because it's got a much fatter prongs, much different plug, because everything that heats up or uses a greater potentiality of electricity has a different plug in Italy. Plug, as we call it, some people call it, I don't know, what do you call it in America? Anyway, the point is that after some time in Italy, you just learn this. And so I always go and buy 4 or 5 of those adapters. So when I have to plug in the bloody vacuum cleaner or something new that I bought, like a fan that heats up in winter, a heating fan, I know that I've got to have one of these plugs. We have mostly 3-prong outlet here. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it's crazy. And Switzerland had a completely different system. I used to work across the border into Switzerland, come back and forth to the house, and spend a couple of nights in the apartment in Switzerland, and I had to have 2 completely different systems. But anyway, just in Italy I'm talking about. You have the bigger plug for things that use more current, and then the normal just 2-prong, okay? So please be aware that you're not going crazy. If you go and buy an appliance in Italy and you realize you can't plug the thing in because it won't go into the wall plug, you have to get an adapter. And that somehow takes the current down. Valerie, I'm looking for work. No, I'm sorry, I'm not offering anyone work. I'm on a live call with people who are interested in Italy. I'm not offering any work in Italy, and that's not what I'm about, but thank you anyway. Anyway, so yes. So what have we covered? We've covered rent, electricity and gas, groceries. Okay, so I already covered at the beginning of the video how you can cut down on incidentals like cappuccino and having a cake and having all those treats. So treats come into one category, and I have already given you the solution at the beginning of the video. If you're just joining, you can go back and watch. That I brown bag it. I take my brown bag if I'm going into Milan for work for the day, and I take a thermos. And I also do a vintage market twice a month here in my town, and I take my lunch with me. I make a lovely couple of sandwiches or something lovely, or some leftovers from the night before in a Tupperware, and I take my thermos in winter with some nice hot coffee. I take some milk separate, and in summer something cold and icy to drink. Could be some nice iced tea, could be whatever. And that way I save about €10 a day, and that all adds up. And then that money can go towards, I don't know, paying your insurance, paying your, I don't know, paying into an account that you're going to go on holiday with at the end of the year. That's another thing. That's what I save up for, to go on a trip at the end of the year. I just went to France, and yeah, it all adds up. So, okay, so we're going to get to groceries now. We've covered rent and electricity. Please be aware that people always say it's cheaper in the south of Italy. It really, you can't make these blanket statements. It really depends on the town you live in, the facilities that are offered in that town, how popular that town is. Yeah, how close it is to the main centers for work, all that kind of stuff. But I would say in Italy, you can look at, let's look at a one bedroom apartment. You can look at ranging between the very bottom 450 right up to about 1500, 1600 in Milan. So there's a big range. So when people make blanket statements like rent is cheap in Italy, this is not true. I mean, you could even find an apartment in an area of Milan that's very sought after because Milan always has a shortage. You could find a one bedroom apartment in Milan for €3,000 if you wanted to, because it's in the right area and people pay, and a company will pay often for that rental. My rent in Trento's Centro Storico means the historical center, is 1,600 per month. Yeah, well, I mean, but it's probably a beautiful apartment for 130 square meters. That's stunning. I mean, that's what the size of my house was. A little high, but it's worth it. No, I live in the historical center as well, in a beautiful piazza, and I have to say, if you want to come to Europe, I agree, Mark. I agree completely. I think for the Centro Storico, a beautiful apartment of that size, I don't know how many bedrooms it has, but immaterial. It's a big apartment by Italian standards. I think that's a good rent, 1.6. So I mean, there's something for everybody. So what I'm saying is that it's very difficult to make a blanket figure. The school kids are going by, so I'll just. Well, that's why they've got different hats and stuff on. I'll just let them pass by because they're quite chatty. Hi. Everybody's got their costumes underneath their tracksuit because it's carnival, as I mentioned. And so, yeah, they're going out with their teacher for a walk. It's such a beautiful day today, isn't it? This guy's doing his work. So yeah, I mean that's how things are. I'm going to take a little walk and just ask the tools all over Italy, and you can't really make a general assumption because it kind of depends where you are, the region you are, and the quality of your accommodation, really. So yeah, thank you, Mark, for all your input on the costs of renting and stuff. Okay, what other costs could you have? So I chose to come and live in a town and where I didn't need a car, but having a car in Italy is a major expense. I think it is most places, but if you've always lived with a car and you can't see yourself living without a car, there's two issues here. Number one, if you're American, you're going to have to rewrite your license after a year, so that's a big headache. And you're going to have to write it in Italian. You're going to have to retake your license. But anyway, I've been living here for 22 years, and I wanted to live car free. I just think I would rather spend that money on a holiday. And so there's very good public transport where I am. There's public transport in most Italian cities, unless you're really living halfway up a mountain in some very remote area. But as you can see, I mean, my station is over there at the end of that street, and that goes everywhere. It goes into Milan, goes to Switzerland. It has international linkages. I can go to the airport quickly to Malpensa. I can go everywhere. I'm just showing you the beautiful sunshine. People are out just enjoying the gorgeous sunshine today. Even though spring hasn't sprung, but soon this tree will be in bloom. So yes, so I chose to live car free, but not everybody can or wants to. So petrol is very expensive here. Insurance is expensive. Getting the car registered and revisioned and licensed, paying your vehicle tax. My friends are always complaining about this. So that's a big cost here. But there's good public transport unless you want to live somewhere very remote and you need a car. But I feel that what you would save on living remotely, maybe from rental, you're going to spend on car, going up and down, and you don't have the benefit. I know that if I need to get to a hospital, I'm right in the center. I live in the historical center. I can either take a train, a bus, or if it's really urgent, I can call the ambulance, and the ambulance will be here in a few minutes. So that's a big plus, and that's one of the reasons many people want to relocate to Italy. And that's why it's lovely to hear your input, Mark, because you recently relocated to Trento, to a beautiful area of Italy. I'm also in the north, but I'm on the north west side. You're more toward north central, northeast going. So a lot of people want to know these things. Let's get back to groceries. I try and do about 100 a week. I often don't make it because if I do 2 shops a week, but I'm talking about one person here. If I do extra shops in a week, in other words, I have some people over, or I decide to have different stuff maybe from the normal, and I treat myself, maybe it would stretch to 150. I would say that to cover everything, which is cleaning, eating healthily with vegetables, fruit, meat, everything, you could live on about 450. Yeah. Obviously, it's very easy to go over that if you're shopping for a big family. I don't buy a lot of cosmetics and cleaning stuff, which is included in that figure. So I think that's fine. So you could work on about you can go and research on the internet what it costs, but Italy isn't the cheapest place in Europe by far. Obviously people are going to live in Bulgaria and Romania, and those places are much cheaper for groceries. But I eat well, I live well. There's an open market here every week, and I find it's very affordable, and you can live healthily on a very modest income. And we've already covered rent. What other costs could you have? Insurance. So let's cover health insurance, because this is something that always comes up and everybody asks me, and I think I might as well cover it in this video. So if you are a permanent resident in Italy, and by the way, there's no way to live in Italy if you require a visa other than getting a visa. So I'm not going to cover the visa here because I've covered it in other things. People always ask, how can I come and live in Italy? Well, do your research, go to your Italian consulate in your country. If you have Social Security and you're like 60 or ready to retire, and you have enough passive income, meaning you don't need to work, you can actually apply for the elective visa, and the elective visa requires you to pay for a year's health insurance. It also requires lots of other things, a clean criminal record, I'm not covering all the details here, but you need a passive income for one person of about 32 to 35,000 annually. So just bear that in mind. If you want to come on a working visa, I'm afraid to disappoint you, but Italy has no work and has a shortage of work, and it's nearly impossible to do. There are other investment visas. I'm not covering visas in this thing, but we get back to health insurance, okay? So health insurance. So if you're coming on an elective visa, you would pay for 1 year's health insurance. After that year, if you renew again, they will then, you will buy insurance for another year. Once you are a permanent resident in Italy, And there's no way to live in Italy without registering as a resident. Every human being in Italy is registered at a comune. What does that mean? Unlike England and other places where you move into your house and whatever, here you have to register when you move into a town. And Mark, you can verify this if you're still with us. When you move into a town, you have to register in the comune within. You've got 2 weeks to register, and you have to register as a resident. The vigili, which is the local police, come to check that you're actually living where you say you're living. They come and check the house. They come and check that the house is habitable. They come and check that everything is right and good. And yeah, that's what happens. And then you become a resident. After 5 years of permanent residence, if you have paid into the system, you can get on the state health insurance, state health system. If you haven't been here and you're a new resident, you pay an amount. It's still a lot less. You know, it could be, I don't know, 1,500 for one person. It's still a lot less than most Americans have to come up with for their health insurance. And if you're a European person, and I need to cover European people who are moving to Italy, then you can fall into the system, you know, that first initial year, and then you can get emergency health treatment immediately. But generally, the health insurance here would cover you for everything, an operation in the hospital, an emergency thing immediately. And it's very, I would say it's reachable, it's affordable for just about anybody who can afford to move here and has passive income. So I don't know if that's a question you had, or you need to ask maybe something else, but yeah. So I can't really see the text anymore. The text seems to have gone. Let me just see. So I can't see the text. It doesn't seem to be running anymore. Oh, there we are. Oh, now I can see it. Okay, sorry. Here, Mark, let me just read. Sorry. So Mark says he has a 2-bedroom, also with a loft. Stunning. So you've got 130 square meters, I think you said, Mark, in Trento, which is up in the north. I'm still waiting for my permesso di soggiorno to be issued by the questura. So when you come in, the first thing you do is they will issue you a permesso. So you're waiting for yours. Submitted last October. Once I receive it, I will submit my dichiarazione di residenza. Okay, so then you're going to become a resident. So Mark, did you come in on a dual citizenship deal? Is that how you came in, or did you come in on elective visa? Let us know in the comments, just to help anybody else who perhaps is watching this and wants to know, you know, the ins and outs of moving to Italy. Let's get back to the costs. So we've covered, I think, just about everything: health insurance, running a car, groceries, entertainment, treats and things, rent. What else? What else haven't I covered? Tell me in the comments what I haven't covered. Or if you watch this back later, let me know in the comments what I should cover, other costs that you're worrying about. Let's just have a little look at life here in my town in Italy. There's the bus going along. Truly is gorgeous, the blue sky, isn't it? Yeah. Super, super blue sky. I'm just sitting here on a bench. I just finished my shopping. You see, there's all my shopping in there. I got some lovely, nice bread. I'm going to go home. But I could show you these grocery prices. Okay, here's a lovely thing of special bread, like whole wheat bread. This is half a kg, I think. It's weighed by kgs. and it cost me one. Okay, so it's $6.90 a kg. It's quite expensive bread, and I paid $1.63 because it's just a piece. I can show you some of these things. What else have I got here? Strawberries. These were about €3 because the season's just starting, so it's new. Can you see those? I don't know what you can see. But maybe it's better if I do it this way. Yes, strawberries. About €3. Because the season's just started. This lovely salami that I absolutely love. It's a piece. I don't know how much is it. It's about 200 grams, and it's $9.90 a kg for that salami. So you can work it out. I paid for 150 grams. I paid $1.52, so it's very affordable. What else can I show you? Blueberries. These were €3 for this amount. This isn't my proper shop. This is just added extras. A little half-liter of milk. This is about €1.80. What else have I got in here? Oh yes, bresaola. One of the things I love to eat as summer comes along is bresaola, which is cured beef. And this is normally per kg. It's $17.45 per kg because it's prime beef made into bresaola. And so this would be for a kg of this bresaola. Sorry, I hope you can see what I'm showing you. I'm working against the light here. It's $17.45 for a kg of bresaola, which is basically cured beef. And I paid $3.91 for this because it's 250 grams. So I mean, it's doable. I mean, that's all I've got to show you because that's all I've done today. Just got some odds to fill in my normal grocery shop. Let me see what's being said here. Hi, I'm still waiting. Okay, I rent. Okay, this is Mark. This is good stuff to hear. I rent a Fiat Panda for €30 per day. Wow, is that a new Fiat Panda? My highest cost is parking in the nearest. Okay, parking is something that people forget in Italy. Hello, AOG, where are you joining from? Oh, you came in on an elective visa, Mark. That's really useful. So, for those of you wanting to know how an elective visa is, Mark came on an elective visa, and he's a very good indicator. And this is the kind of feedback we need so people can watch this and know the reality of the situation, not the nonsense that's spoken about on Facebook groups, as I often say, or the nonsense that gets written on sometimes on my channel of people who really don't know anything about living in Italy because they just imagine it, or they were born in Italy and they've never had to do anything or pay for anything. AOG, I don't know where you're joining from. Let us know your city. Welcome. Welcome everybody who's joined today. Don't forget to like the video. Go right now and like the video. If I don't get the video liked, I can't make this content for free for you guys to help you guys. So please go and like the video. And if you haven't subscribed already, think about it. Why not? I only make good, real, proper content out of Italy. I don't just live in fairyland. I just talk about real life in Italy, right? Okay, so Mark, that's really useful information. So €30 a day or a week? Let me just see. €30 per day. That's quite reasonable. I guess you haven't got to the stage where you have to renew your license yet, have you? Yeah. Mark, won't you please send me an email because I'd love to be in touch with you. My email is always in the description box. And I'll do it again, but it's communicateforbusiness@gmail.com. But I'll put that down in the description box again. And won't you send me an email, Mark, so I can be in touch with you? That'll be great. Thanks. Okay, so we've covered most things. A car. So renting a car could be a good thing because maybe you don't want to buy a car right up front. Maybe That's a little bit risky. You need to look around. Also, you have to be resident in Italy to buy a car. Another problem people have, because sometimes people want to come here on a Schengen visa when they're still thinking about being resident in Italy. Hello, Omar. I don't know where you're from, but let me know which city. Welcome to everyone joining. You can't buy a car in Italy unless you are a resident. So people often say, can't I just buy a van in Italy, live in it and cover the whole of Italy and then drive up to Switzerland or drive up to another European country and go back to England and sell the van? No, you can't buy a car in Italy unless you are permanent resident here. So there's that. That's a question that has come up before. And Mark has just given you some vital information that he rents a Fiat Panda for €30 a day. I think that's a good deal. It's a very good deal. Parking is a major issue in Italy. One of the reasons I don't have a car, people always ask me, want you a car? Don't need a car, don't want a car, spend my money on a holiday rather. But parking is a major issue, depending on the city. I mean, we're lucky in this town. I've shown you on some of my other videos, we have a lot of parking. There's also a big parking lot, but parking in Italy is a complete pain in the butt if there's not enough of it, and many cities have limited parking, or they have something called ZTL, in other words, Zona Traffico Limitato. Where I live in my piazza, no cars can come in. It's all pedestrianized like this. You see here, it's all pedestrianized. But at least here we have parking on the side of the road, that kind of parking, you see? Yeah. But, you know, there are cities where it's just a nightmare to park. As I say, near the station, we have a huge, which is down there, we have a huge parking lot, and that makes it really easy. So, yeah, that's really good. But every situation could be slightly different. Yeah, lovely. Okay, so I hope this has been useful, this live. I hope this will give you some idea of what it actually means to live in Italy, what it actually costs to live in Italy, and my costs, and the way that I found to live more frugally, the things that I don't waste money on, like going out to a bar for, you know, just snacks and treats and stuff. But maybe on holiday you want to do that. But, you know, as you come and live here, or you want to budget, or you want to plan what it'll cost you to retire if you're still thinking about coming to Italy and you don't really know what it'll cost you, I would say that it's substantially cheaper than many American cities, maybe not all American cities, but that also depends on you and your lifestyle, what you want to do, how much time you want to go out, what kind of food you eat. Do you eat steak or do you eat pasta? So yeah, but anyway, I've given you my idea and a couple of people's normal costs, and I hope that makes it easier for you to decide. What I wanted to just cover at this point before I end the video is that the limit for the ERV visa has been increased to about 62,000 for a couple. It used to be about, you know, in the 40s, 38, but many consulates in the States are now asking between 62 and 65,000 for a couple. That needs to be the passive income that you earn through your Social Security, your pension. Passive income, meaning you don't work. Okay? You can't come to Italy or any European country and work. There just isn't jobs. And if you work online in some way, you have to be taxed on your worldwide income. There's no way to escape tax. So you're going to have to declare that you're working, and you can't come here and work on an ERV visa. It is a non-working, it is called passive income. So it's called an elective visa. And just to let you know, the limit for a couple, for two people, is €62,000 now that they're asking. This is clients of mine that have been asked this by their embassy in Miami. Okay, so I hope I covered most things. Let me know in the comments if you're watching this back after we're not live anymore, and you have a particular question, please, tax, I don't know, whatever question you may have, put them down there. And next week I will do another video, possibly not at home, out here in the streets, and let you know the answer to those questions. People could have many questions. The quality of the healthcare, whatever you want to know. Can you bring your dog? Another question that gets asked all the time. Yes. You can fly with your dog over a certain weight. There's quite a few people who've done it. So if you put your comment down in the comments, dogs are very loved in Italy, just as children are. And so, yes, you could definitely bring your dog. Is it impossible? No, it's pretty. There are companies who do it. They move dogs by air. So yeah, yes, you can definitely bring your dog. Okay, so yeah, so there we are. So I'm going to I'm going to pin Mark's message here, just so that perhaps people who really want to know how to get around the car issue will be able to find it. But thank you, Mark, for your input. That's really, really good. It really helps me a lot. Yeah. Thank you, everybody who participated today. Please go up and like the video if you haven't already. I can only make this free content that most consultants charge a fortune to give people, because I get support on my YouTube channel. I'm making it for free. Just hit the like button. Go up right now and hit the like button, and see you on the next one. And I hope that you will watch my next upcoming one, which is how my 5 sources of passive income that I live on. So anyway, thank you, Mark. Thank you for everybody who joined us today. And I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to like the video and go and watch the other videos. There's a whole playlist on my channel of what you need to know if you're just coming on holiday, if you're coming on dual citizenship, or if you are coming on the ERV visa, the elective visa, as marked. Take care, and I hope this has been useful for you from a beautiful summer day here in Italy. See you on the next one. Bye. 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 Bye-bye, everybody. Bye. Bye. Bye-bye.